All right, it's time to have a discussion about the endgame changes, the item rarity, this new monster effectiveness going up, less pack size. Look, I know it's like a hot topic right now. There's a lot of doomers out there. I mean, look, we don't know. The game's in early access. We don't know how it's going to feel. We don't know if it's going to be better. They did say in the Q&A that eventually they do want to remove item rarity from gear, which I know I see a few people here and there defending the item rarity on gear, but most of the people, myself included, are just in the camp of, well, I can't afford to put it on my build. And, you know, it kind of forces you to then play a build that can get item rarity and also still be strong enough to do content. And it just feels like you're kind of locked in. I play a lot of Mercenary. And it's kind of one of those classes where it's kind of hard to get big defenses and also deal good damage. And then I never put item rarity on my gear. I can't afford to. It's just not, especially 150%. And I miss out, you know. But then in the interview, the Q&A, basically they said, oh, well, you know, we see a lot of the community videos. We see a lot of people speculate on how rarity works, and they're all wrong. But then they never said anything about, okay, well, this is how it actually works. I think they said they kind of reduced the numerical values of how it works on gear for now until they can change it. I don't know. Like, you guys let me know what you think about item rarity. I'm in the camp of it shouldn't be on gear because it feels mandatory. You have to do it. But then they're also saying item rarity doesn't affect currency, but I'm pretty sure it does. Like, everybody knows once you get up to, you know, 150%, you ting, like, versus somebody like me that plays and you just don't have it. But another thing I wanted to talk about was the monster effectiveness. Now, look, the game's in early access. They're going to keep changing things every league, every patch, whatever you want to call it, until they eventually get it right. I do think even now, pack size is kind of mandatory. You want more item drops in the Atlas tree you pump pack size. I always pump pack size. Just feels better. Now they're reducing pack size by what, 28%? We can't juice up waystones anymore, tablets. Now it's going to be like you can have 4 mods instead of 6. You can't put distilled stuff on them. We'll have to see how that feels. But until they like Mark didn't really want to spoil too much about what's going on, but I'm pretty sure we're getting a complete rework of the Atlas tree, and I'm assuming it would only make sense if they give us the opportunity to, like, okay, you want pack size, you have like a big AoE build, you can spec into pack size. You want more monster effectiveness and less pack size, you have more. Like, I do think it's okay because it gives builds that are more like single target oriented, or like, you know, just skills that don't have big AoE clear a chance. Okay, well, now there's only 6 monsters in this pack instead of 10 or 11 or 12, and now I have an easier time to take them down. And I do think background, I do think, like, I don't remember if it was at League launch for Rise of the Abyssal or if it was a patch that came. But before, we used to be able to go up to +4 on the Pinnacle bosses. And then they removed it from the tree of you getting like +1 of their level. And now you just spend the currency to go to tier 3. Zex used to have like 32 million HP. Now he's got like 11, maybe 12 million. I mean, they nerfed the HP by 2/3. And I just... A lot of people fight me on this and are like, L take. And it's like, how is it an L take when I'm just saying it's a Pinnacle boss? It should be it's literally the hardest boss of the game. It should be a challenge. Why would they nerf their HP by that much? Add more HP. Like, they've designed these boss fights and there's so many mechanics and it's like really fun. And I know a lot of people aren't all about like the Dark Souls style, but like, we want a challenge. You know, when you just come in and you can just kill the boss in 5 to 10 seconds, you're going to miss all the mechanics. And it's like, you know, when it was like 30 million, it was like, all right, I have to actually, you know, kind of fight the bosses here. But now with 10, 11. Like I have a build that can just one-shot Pinnacle bosses, and it's not fun. And I know they're adding that anti-burst mechanic, and I made a video about that, talking about, well, I just feel like they should up the HP back to how it was, or maybe add a little bit more resistances on Pinnacle bosses. And I get a lot of pushback on that. And that's fine. Everybody's, you know, entitled to their opinion. That's my opinion. But I think that these Pinnacle bosses should have a ton more HP. So going with that, with this new monster effectiveness, the mobs and the monsters are now going to have more HP, but have, you know, less pack size. And I think that, I guess, the higher the effectiveness, the more, I guess, their loot is going to be, the more they drop better loot. One of the issues I, you know, personally think is going to happen, that I've seen a lot of people talk about, is the maps are going to feel empty. Some of these maps are big, and even now it feels like you're kind of running a bit before you get to a pack of monsters. So now if we're going to have 1/3 less monsters on a map, maps are good. You're just going to feel like you're running and not fighting any monsters. So that's kind of my worry. I mean, obviously they've tested this, so we're really just going to have to see what's going on. But I mean, I like not being able to put distilled emotions and like really juice up your maps is going to suck, but it's going to save so much time. I don't think these values like they have here are really, I think they're probably going to have to come up still, especially if there's only going to be 4 modifiers. But I'm kind of leaning on the camp of like, all right, well, I'm not going to sit here and be a doomer and be like, all right, well, this sucks. It's not going to be good. We don't know. We got to get in there and test it. But I think maybe this is probably a better way to go. And then I'm assuming 0.5 next league, we're going to get the endgame changes. And it kind of sounds like we're going to get a reworked Atlas tree then. And if that happens, and they did say, Jonathan did say they do want to remove item rarity from gear. They just got to find out how to put it in other spots in the game. So I am happy about that, because as somebody that can't afford it on my builds, it sucks when like I'll get 1 divine every 1 or 2 hours where other people are dropping multiple a map, right? But I just think that I don't think this league is going to have a lot of retention because there was no endgame. I think the Adziri boss fight is going to be cool. I think the double corruptions, it's going to keep me playing, because I was like, all right, well, not only do I have to get a good item, I then have to corrupt the item and hope I get the good outcome. And then I have to take that item and double corrupt it and have a 50% chance for it to get even better. And then the uniques that you can remove, 2 modifiers and get 2 new modifiers. There's going to be a lot of experimentation, and it's going to be something where like, all right, well, now I have my good gear. And then when I have my solid gear, now I have to make replicas of my gear and then corrupt it. And then if the corruption hits the, you know, the good RNG, now I have to double corrupt it. So it's going to be, I feel like it'll keep me playing more to try to chase that really, really good item across all of my, you know, gear pieces. So I do feel, for me personally, it's probably going to have some good replayability. I know a lot of people, just the end game, it sucks not getting it, but I mean, it's early access. Let them get out a big chunk, whatever. Like, we got a new class. We got reworks. I mean, the performance upgrades, I mean, basically baseline 25% more performance. But I mean, up to 50%, even higher in some cases. I mean, just having higher frames is going to be insane, like utilizing the cores now. But I don't know. I just kind of wanted to talk about this because I see so many different things about this. Like, oh, it's going to suck not having pack size. And I think it's going to be in this gray area for now, right? Like, we're losing pack size. Sure, we can increase it some on the Atlas tree, but I think until we get the rework, this is just going to be, people are going to be unhappy until we get the reworked Atlas tree and like we actually get everything that they're implementing into the game. And I think for now, it's probably going to be okay. Like, more monster effectiveness, better drops. They have more HP. It's not like, because like most of my builds, like I'm running Galvanic shards for clear on Mercenary, and it just boom, one shot and it chains, and Herald Thunder comes down, and just everything's dead. So it's just like I'm running around. I one shot the bosses, even rares, one maybe 2 with Galvanic shards, even on rares. with how powerful I am, and it's like they're dead. So having more monster HP, I think, is going to be a good thing. And if they drop better loot, fine. But I'm not going to like running through maps and just having pockets of no monsters. But anyway, I think I covered everything. I mean, really, I'm not going to go over all these changes, but I think that these are probably still going to have to come up a bit. But I am also on the camp of, I think if you're doing the harder content, that the loot drops should increase depending on the content you're doing. You know what I mean? And I've gotten some pushback on that in some videos. As far as like, okay, well, like one of the things I said, okay, well, right now we have 3 tiers of Pinnacle. Keep tier 1 and 2 how they are. And then tier 3, bump it back up to how it used to be. Give Zex that 30 mil back. Hell, give him 50, 60 mil. And then make, scale the loot with that. Make the last tier hard to run. Make it a challenge. You know what I mean? And a lot of people are like, oh, well, not every build can do that. It's like, okay, well then I understand that they're still balancing skills and not, there's literally like maybe 4 mercenary skills out of the 20-some that are viable endgame. And that sucks. So like, I'm there with you. Like, hey, like my build can't clear Zex at 30 mil. It's like, okay, well then either figure out how to get more power or play something else, which sucks because, you should be able to play what you like. You should be able to play the skills, but at the same time, it's early access and they're just going to keep tweaking and until we get there. But I just, I think we should have this monster effectiveness, I think is a step in the right direction. And I think they should revert some of these pinnacles back to having higher HP pools. And, like I said in my video about the anti-burst, I feel like just making them have basically like a invulnerability period for 4 or 5 seconds is not really going to do anything because, okay, now I just wait, dodge roll for 4 seconds, and then I pop the boss. It's not going to add anything. But if they doubled their HP pool, they tripled their HP pool, well, now I got a fight on my hands. Like, I don't know. That's just where I'm at. I'd rather just have some fights. I mean, PoE1 has some massive HP pools, and you have to do mechanics, and that's just how it is. But anyway, I'll probably just keep rambling, but that's how I feel on that. Let me know how you guys feel. I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion. Everybody's going to have different opinions. This is just mine. I think we should try it out and see what happens. I mean, at least, like, here's the thing. I've come from covering other games, and the devs are so fucking shitty. They break every time there's a patch. They break it. They promise things. It doesn't come out. Like, you got to realize, like, I know probably people that are only playing these games are like, they get used to GGG giving them all this content every 4 months. But like, when you step back and look at how other devs are handling it, like, we don't get these Q&As. We don't get these big reveals. We don't get separate interviews with other content creators. Like, they listen to us, they still want their vision of the game, but there's a lot that Mark and Jonathan and just the whole team at GGG do very differently than other devs and other companies. And it's just a breath of fresh air coming from dealing with these shitty companies. And, I just want to, I guess, like, thank them for doing this without sounding like corny or like, oh, like I'm simping on them. Like, it's nice to have people that seem to care about their game and want the best, but also still kind of want to give the community what they want. I mean, you can't cave in and give everybody in the community what they want. You got big streamers complain, well, it should be, we want movement speed. Okay, well, this isn't PoE1. They specifically say they don't want this to be a PoE1. And the more that, like, I think I was talking with somebody in my comments about the anti-burst. They said that's a PoE1 thing. And I didn't even know that was a thing in PoE1. And it's like, the more they just bring over from PoE1, that this is just going to be PoE 1.5, and then it's not going to be its own separate identity. And I don't know. It's a lot to take in. You just got to sit back and be like, all right, well, just think about it from everybody's perspective. But we all want a good game. And, it's early access. We just got to test it. They implement changes. We'll see how it feels. They want to remove it from gear. They're going to try this effectiveness. We'll see how it goes. But that's just my thoughts anyway. Check out our league start. Check out our other videos. I'm going to update my Glacial Bolt Herald Coming Calamity build because it actually got buffed a bit. But it'll probably be tomorrow. But anyway, just wanted to talk. Keep it civil in the comments. Don't, be like, oh, it's stupid, L take. Like, okay, well, how do you feel it should go? You know what I mean? What's your thoughts? You know what I mean? Anyway, you know the drill. Subscribe, come back. See you on the next one.